Hiya. Hi everybody. I'm going to do a video. I like to do videos on a Friday. And I also got an email today from a gentleman named Patrick. So he watches YouTube. And so I thought I would address the email. The email is regarding Archurians and had they come across them, had these been asked in the Q&As. Now, what has happened? Yes, the Archurians have been asked in the Q&As, but the thing is that you can't trust ETs. Now, not to say all Archurians are bad, but in order for the Archurians to come here and being able to access here, they've had to go through the Reptilians, which means they've had to do deals with the Reptilians in order to gain access to this reality. Therefore, they've been highly manipulated and they manipulate others. Now, therefore, but also in this thing is that we can, part of, like when you wake up and you see the world is run by psychopaths, and then that can also, when you wake up, more light comes into the body and it starts to highlight the traumas that you have within. And you want a home. And everybody's come from messed up homes because of the consciousness level, because of the traumas within the collective consciousness. And because we've come from messed up homes, parents are not fully healed, not fully loving themselves, then the children that, weren't fully loved, and, and it goes on until we evolve enough that we're fully in love with ourselves. Yeah, we respect ourselves, we value ourselves. If we want to value our life, we have to value oneself. We are the creator of that. Now, because of the splitting of the brain when trauma happens, it disconnects us from our emotional life. The emotional life becomes disconnected from the physical life. And what starts to happen is we start to feel empty inside. We have feelings maybe of emptiness, of loneliness, of disconnection. We may feel like Earth is not our home, that we want to leave, and the more disconnection between the left and the right brain, the more social issues will appear. So there's lots of problems that occur when left. Actually, all problems is because the emotional side is not connected to the physical side of life. So healing, and what I help people do, and doing myself, is to connect to the left and the right brain. Now, because of the consciousness levels of when we were born and many generations, there's that the family is not healed. And that is nothing to do wrong with the family, because we're on an evolution. And if the mother planet that we're on, the planet Earth, is not up to optimum level, we can only go as high as the frequency or the understanding or the intelligent levels of the planet. Therefore, your parents were just not doing anything wrong as such. They were doing their best with the energies that they had within them. Therefore, by understanding them and then understanding yourself will help you heal what you have inside. Now, when you have speakers or people going, I remember years ago, and it was a black magician, and I've talked about him in my book, but saying, connect to your ET, and you're an ET, and blah, 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 and connect to your ET family, and bollocks like that. What that does is it causes that inner child who's desperate for connection, and desperate for a family that loves them and everything like that. People latch on to that. You're here to love yourself. You're here to save yourself. You're here to validate yourself, to value yourself. You are here to evolve, and that means to fill in the holes that your parents missed. Yeah, your parents would have done X amount of looking after you and loving you in the way that they did. But there's going to be gaps in that parenting, and it's your job to actually parent the rest of that inner child. So healing is a lot of looking back at childhood. How is it affecting you today? And it's a process. It's not like that. It can take years. And that is everyone's responsibility to do that in order to go, because after that, we're still growing, but we just don't have to keep looking at the past and reflecting on childhood, because that part of us, that foundation, is healed. So if you are looking for ETs or answers in ETs, or it's not going to be there, you're not going to find it there. And I truly believe that all the interactions with ETs on this planet is actually had to go through the reptilians in order to get it, unless you have the ETs have come through your heart. But generally what I see is that people channel these through the mental mind, through the many years of understanding the brain. And when I get a lot of time looking at channelers and how they use, and they think they're talking to archangels, or I had one recently. It was a man. I felt so sorry for him, because he's a good man, a huge amount of followings, and he was believing he was speaking to some sort of higher power and everything like that, but he was actually talking to reptilians, and they just disguised themselves. It's been highly manipulated. And that's the thing, is like, why have we been highly manipulated? Well, one for is because what religion did was tell us to suppress our emotions and suppress life itself. So we had to manipulate ourselves to not feel. And therefore we start doing that at a very early age, in the genetics. Don't feel, listen to the hybrids outside of ourselves, telling to praise to a god outside of ourselves. So we we forced ourselves not to feel. Now, women were the spiritual beings of this reality. We're connected to, far more connected, and the men are the physical, to ground all that light down. And together we create physical realities. The loss that the human beings have lost is lost the real feminine. And I'm not talking like feminine on a bloody pedestal. I'm just talking about women that actually feel. Everyone can do it. Men can do it too. But women are the feelers, and it's that intuition that you're connected to. The reason I could do my job, and I can connect to anywhere and look at people from all over the world, and I don't even need to physically see them as just a name, is because my heart is everywhere. So it's just changing the point of perception of where I place myself. And this is, how I remote view and how I see people and how I understand the brain. And these abilities have been suppressed in us, and this is what females brought to the table. Were able to protect the physical world, and the men, the masculine protected the feminine, so she could deliver very intuitive information, wisdom, and all these things. So they told us not to feel anymore, and if we said something out of line, they started burning women, Well, it's our heart that actually sees through the physical reality. It's the heart can see things from many different perspectives and many different frequencies, where the mind kind of will only work on the frequencies that it's learnt to work at. So in order to evolve, we have to listen to our heart of the different frequencies that the heart comes through. And with your heart consciousness, you're connected to everything. So why would you go to ETs? It doesn't make sense at all. Why it's the journey is, I know why, because we've lost trust and we've lost belief in ourselves. So part of that is to learn to trust and to believe in ourselves, because we haven't understood life, because we manifest shit as we get older and not realizing we're manifesting in order to heal the inner child. We just get to believe that, if we believe we're a good person and we do good things and manners and good to people, that good things will happen to us. Well, that doesn't happen, does it? Shit things happen to us, and it's like, well, I thought I was a good person. You may go to the church every Sunday, or you're nice to your neighbours and you're nice to your work colleagues and you do everything for everybody else, and you still shit things are happening. Why is that? Why does that happen? And then as time goes on, you start realising, actually I'm attracting in the energies that I had as a child. And why are you attracting those in? Because you didn't learn to build up the boundaries as a child. You just accepted the treatment that was available at that time. You accepted where your parents' evolution was at that time. So therefore it's only your responsibility to change that, because their frequencies run through you until you start to look at them and change it and heal from it and feel what it's like, or it just gets normalized and you stop growing. So healing, you can't, even when Gaia blooms, like really blooms, people are still going to have to heal. You can't just jump it. And then after that, there's no looking at past and no healing trauma and everything like that. But we're still growing. It's just a different way of growing. Life will get uncomfortable, and that uncomfortableness and more light comes in to break up that uncomfortableness to get us to grow. The reason we've found it so difficult to grow and we've been so suppressed, and we've been suppressed by ETs. Well, I say ETs, but it's really like reptilians are just AI and human traumatized consciousness. That was the basis of it. And to siphon off our energy and resources. Now, recently I was helping a man with his research for his book, and I ended up going to the CIA, and I'm looking at the CIA and I'm realising that they're in contact with this. I always saw it like the Watchers and the Reptilians were in another universe, but it's not a universe as such. It's just another reality that vibrates at a different frequency than us. So although it's like they're here, but we just can't see them. Now, I knew that from childhood and the satanic rituals and everything, and they would, connect to like Jimmy Savile. If you read my book, I got basically a ritual. Jimmy Savile did a ritual on me, and he became like a portal during this ritual, and these beings came out, and I knew these beings were the Watchers. And they basically, so it was Jimmy Savile and these Watchers. They were not from this world, they came through him from another world, and basically they watched him rape me. I was just a little girl, and it was just like, so I knew from my memories, when I gave my memories back, that this was through these rituals they connected to their god, their god. And but then also what I was seeing in the CIA and it was in America, but also what was weird about the CIA, it's like it's not American. Now it sounds really weird. I was looking at, they're not American as such. They don't pay allegiance to America. The CIA is like above that. Like we buy into the countries that we live in, and you may be a patron, American, and me like Great Britain and soft spot for Ireland because my parents are from there, and it is. But they're not like that. It's just business, and how this department of the CIA was seeing the American government, it was just like they're just puppets. They're just doing the distraction so we can get the business done, and their business was actually the contracts and the business was through the reptilians. The reptilians come to Earth to do the big contracts. I haven't really gone into the contracts, but they weren't like American. They didn't work for America. They worked for the reptilians, and this is where the Nazi energy comes from. This is where all the mind control comes from. This is where obviously the politics and everything that gets laid down, and the religious energies all come from here as well. But I was attacked, and generally when I'm attacked, it's hybrids that do that. So it's people here on this planet that attack. But this attack was different, and it sent me outside into this reality. But also the reptilian reality or the Watcher reality. But that reality is attached to another reality that vibrates at a different, which has also been siphoning off us. So there's two realities that actually been siphoning off our reality. And that reality was horrendous. We see that reality, it bleeds through into our reality, in the sense that now I don't know, I still got to figure this out. I don't know if that reality that I saw and went to was, we see it here, or it's like it's completely separate, or we're just copying those frequencies, because it was a reality that was the most fucked up reality. They were so disconnected. They didn't know who they were. So we see it here. So it was like men wanting to be women, women wanting to be men, to sexless beings. They had no genitalia and nothing. It's like all off. Women plastered with shit in their faces, and to buying babies. You could buy your designer baby, and this reality. They had no and that reality was being held up by the watcher reality, was getting all their resources and everything from this reality. It's really screwed up, like Muller and Scully kind of shit. So the hybrids here are just agents for that, and they disguise themselves as politicians. We looked at what Jeremy Corbyn yesterday on the Q&A, and it's like, oh, he's a really nice guy, he's a gardener and he makes jam and everything like that, and it's just like, he's a piece of shit, he's a politician. It's just he's in it for himself. He's in it for the system. They protect the system. They're not human beings. They play a part. It's like a play, an actor. I'll do this, I'll be one of the people kind of thing. Reminds me of, when you go to chemist shops in the UK, and for some reason the chemist shop is like this little, they're always like little shops, little pharmacies, and they feel so homely, and it's not, there's no advertisements. It's like these, and you're like, the pharmaceutical companies, it's like all like the deception of it. We're here to help and everything, but when you go and look at the pharmaceutical companies and the root of it, it's like they want to kill you. Do you know what I mean? Or it really like disabilitate you to you're on all their drugs, but what they display is something very different. Same with politics, same with religion. Say you go deeper and deeper into it. However, there's loads of stuff that's going on. Earth, with the core of Earth, so there's a core, and there's a core of it in everybody. You get a cell, and you look at it, and you'll see the nucleus, and you'll see the membrane, and basically every cell of your body within that cell is you, not just you, but all your past lives. It's your intention of why you're here. It's all the identities that you've ever created. But in the nucleus, in that, if you go deeper into that consciousness, it's everything. It's a purity. It's a purity of energy that people need to connect back up to. They need to connect to themselves. It's an energy where there's no identity when you go into it. It's just tranquil. It's peace. It's like if you have, for instance, an awakening, for instance, and more light comes into the body and your mind has got so much more to decode, then it comes from that place. It comes from the nucleus. It kind of blooms, and the blooming is the more light comes in, kind of thing. And that place is where we bloom from. And obviously that place, even though it's in everybody and it's in Mother Earth, it's all the same place. So I could find it in you, in whatever cell. I could find it Mother Earth, find it in myself, find it in everybody, except for hybrids and stuff like that. They won't have it. That's the problem. They don't have that connection, and we do. And that's a never-ending energy supply. It's like it's our home. It's where we go back to without the identities and stuff. So the thing with the hybrids and everything, it's like they don't have that access. And this is why they have to kill and everything, because when they kill an innocent soul, the soul just goes straight back to that place, and it opens a door, all this light comes in, and they bathe in that light. And anyway, Gaia's going to bloom, and that will take us out of the frequencies of these two realities. so they won't be vibrating at the same frequency, near the same frequency as us, because they use technology, and like the CIA and Contact, so they're actually talking to another reality in the CIA. They're talking to them using technology. They're communicating with them. They're allowing beings into this reality to do more deals, and the politics and everything's just a shit show to keep you distracted from it. Anyway, that's my little ramble. So don't worry, everything's going in the right direction. But don't get distracted by ETs. It's they want you to be distracted by ETs, because if you give your power away to ETs, or you feel like an ET is going to save you, maybe you've had an abduction and you need resolution on that and an understanding of that, then fair enough. But if it's like a dead end, and obviously the CIA do lots of dead ends and go down this rabbit hole, and they create lots and lots of rabbit holes for the awakened people to go down, because the next level is looking at yourself, and they don't want you to do that, because you'll realise that, oh shit, I'm actually creating my reality. I'm the one that's doing this. Therefore, I'm the one doing this. I'm the one that can heal my reality, so I don't create loads of shit again. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I would say. Anyway, I've rambled a lot. I can't believe how much I've rambled. I do Q&As. I do them every couple of weeks. You're very welcome to come. It's great because it can be really healing, because so you tune into the heart, and actually every heart leads to the same energy base. And that's what's so lovely. Yeah, so it helps people to connect back to their heart, but we also learn information that can be fun to learn. I do one-to-ones. So I see people on a one-to-one basis. Obviously, I've got the healing groups, and although even in the groups it's one-to-one, it's like a big clinic. So it's like I start from like 9:30 in the morning. I go till 3:00, and it's like one person after another, and I'll spend like 12-15 minutes with each person. And and it could be about relationships, about physical problems, about stuff, just to give them a little bit of light to help them direct them on their path and keep them on their path, on their heart path. And I've been doing that for years now, absolute years. And they tend to be always booked up, but if you're going to have a look, always look at the end of the month kind of thing. People leave and people come. And if you sign up for Patreon for free, there's you'll get videos and stuff like that. So but there's a basic tier where you'll get videos, and then obviously the silver tier you get Q&As. Okay, I'll leave it there. Okay, lots of love everyone. You take care.